In this video, we're going to discuss how to break through a strength plateau. So you may have found yourself in the position where you're at a bit of a sticking point with some of your compound lifts. This can be extremely frustrating as progressing is the biggest driver of motivation when it comes to training. So the biggest thing that holds people back, in my opinion, is overreaching. So overreaching leads to setbacks physically and mentally. Physically, it can be extremely fatiguing as you're trying to push your body beyond what it's actually ready for, which can lead to unnecessary levels of fatigue and even injury. And mentally, it can be draining as it can cause you to hit a wall with your training, which can be extremely frustrating. With strength training, you have to think of it like a slow burn. You want to build your body's capacity to handle heavier loads slowly over a long span of time, giving yourself plenty of time and resources to recover, as well as working with loads that are actually challenging, yet not out of your current ability. So when you're new to strength training, you want everything fast, but you get to a certain point where you realise that chasing fast results leads to lots of setbacks, and that taking it slow is ironically the faster option. This can also happen with fat loss, with the infamous rebound, where you use ultra-restrictive dieting practices for a short span of time, lose a bunch of fat, and then because you've not actually built any habits, as soon as the goal weight is achieved, you fall back into old habits and pile the weight back on. With strength training, the equivalent is trying to lift too heavy too soon and either burning out due to fatigue or getting injured and having to take time off to recover. With your strength training, in the beginning, you'll simply be able to add weight or reps each week. But after a while, this will not be doable, and you'll likely have to adopt more advanced training principles like a periodization program, where you work off an RPE scheme, for example, building up to a week where you peak, and then deloading, dropping some fatigue before going into a new block, where you're going to change up the rep range and start working through the RPE scheme again. But because you've actually been building capacity through the last block, you're now stronger and can build from there. This is how I train my more advanced clients, and it allows us to progress while managing fatigue and avoiding setbacks. If you've been training for a while and have hit a wall with progress, it might be time to adopt some more advanced methods to move forwards. That being said, you may not be at this stage yet, and aiming for smaller increases with your lifting may be all you need. For example, instead of trying to increase your squat by 5 kilos, just go for 2.5 kilos or even less. Or even just adding an extra rep or two before increasing the load, then dropping back to the original rep range and increasing the load slightly from there. Another factor may be your recovery. You might not be giving yourself enough time between sessions, sleeping enough, or eating enough calories or protein. Or potentially you're experiencing high levels of stress in your life, which can affect your lifting too. If all of this is in order, however, overreaching is likely the biggest cause of your setbacks. So if you take anything away from this video, take the idea that strength is built slowly, and if you try and get ahead of yourself, it will only lead to setbacks. Slow is fast, and fast is slow when it comes to your strength training.